Hello and welcome everybody to another day of Odin's Day. Now, it's a wonderful day, of course, because it's the day of our Lord Odin. And today we're doing more streaming. So today's work, we're probably working on the Odin compiler. And working I'm trying to fix some bugs, is what I'll be doing for the most part. So I need to fix them up. Other things that I want to be working on. Other things I want to be working on is probably the mid-card compiler as well. But I'm just going to be working on some of the bugs. So one of the bugs at the moment that I've noticed, let's get rid of all this crap. Demo Odin is this, and it only works. Well, not works. It only happens in the new backend, and it's. I don't know what's causing it, so I need to find out what is my answer. So I have a hunch, actually, come to think about it, and I think I know what my hunch is when I come to think about it more. Yeah, so this is where it's the constant value. So the issue is if I have procedure literal in a variable in global scope, or anything really pretty much, but global scope, technically I don't need this, but it just looks clear anyway. The procedural literals are, I don't think they're getting produced correct anonymous declarations. For instance, they're looking for these things and they're not showing the right name. So for instance, a non, so it's generating a procedure number, and it's got a prefix name here, and it's whatever the current prefix is in. And it's got an ID, but it's never been generated. And there's the problem. It's being parent. Oh, there's the bug. There's the bug. I know what the bug is, and it's actually such a simple one. I know what the bug is. Oh, that was... I just had to think that through. It was bugging me for ages, that was. See what I mean? It's being added to procedures to generate, but the problem is they're being added after all of them been generated. So I'm just going to let's move that. After all that. And it's just getting the right stage of everything working correctly. That's it. No? No? Well, actually, no. I didn't do it correctly this time anyway. So is everyone able to see this fine? Hello, hello. So the problem here with the thing going on here is I think I know what the problem. I know what the problem is now. The procedures have been generated, which is what these procedures to generate does here. So we need to shove this further along. So if I do this, keeping the registry crap there, function pass. Let's add another global variables. Registry initialization. Hello, 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 how are you? Okay. So that has fixed the bug. And that took a while to fix it. And yeah. So I know what the problem was there. So the bug was, simply put, that I was generating all the procedure bodies first, even though new ones were being added to the list. short answer, is it? So they weren't ever actually getting checked. So I needed to, because it's not been multi-threaded correctly yet, which I will want to multi-thread later, by the way, because the new LLVM backend can be completely multi-threaded. I can fix all that wonderful stuff. So let's put a commit into here. Fix declarations at global scope. Oh yeah, no, at file scope with LLVM API, or just put it LLVM API like that. There is no number on this one. I've just found this one earlier. So there is no actual associated bug to it. Sorry. I never actually created an issue for this. It was just one of those that I just found. Okay. That should be fine. It should mean some code should be working correctly now. And Midgard should be running correctly. Aha. So this bug also exists in the old backend as well, not just the LLVM one. So it's another backend bug. No. Oh, why not the other bug? The other bug's something, it's slightly unrelated as well. It's another thing as well. Hey, single dash, double dash does make a difference. I allow both. I like single dash. It looks cleaner. It's cleaner. Shorter, cleaner, nicer. All that wonderful stuff. So for this, it's more of a... I think it's this. I think that's the bug. Now, if I get rid of that, there's the bug. Can you see what's happened? So it's the back end, for the old back end at least. This is another bug. It was both related, and they both were doing the opposite behavior. And I was like, I couldn't figure out what exactly was going on. So in the constant value crap, const value, build constant value, that's it. No, that's not right. Why is the... Let's go build expression. Build expression internal, because you want the internal bit. And I was looking for if it had... Yeah, I was doing loads of cheats here. So it was a procedure literal, do this. If it wasn't a procedure literal, we need to find the entity from the expression and get it. Yeah? Okay, so someone's got a better stream with a more efficient layout. Now, that's a nice thing you've done, Burke. The Burke has done a nice little thing. I'll post this in the chat for everybody. Check this out. It's a much more screen efficient thing for people. I don't need it because I've got the analytics page and stuff open. But it's good enough. That's very nice. Like so. So the problem here is it seems to be that this doesn't get found or generated correctly. And I'll explain. So when you do an add, it's called add module constant. I couldn't remember what it was called, okay? I forget names. And there's your bug. Can you see it? It's if we want the exact value here. Value. If value.kind Well, here's the problem: is how many times does that thing get called? Because it doesn't actually ever call the lookup module, which is ooh, that's dodgy. That's really dodgy. So this is a compiler fix thing. I might go to the Midgar stuff after I fix these 1 or 2 bugs. They're the ones that really been bugging me. So it's just annoying me at the moment. Like this is a bug at the moment. So this works now for both backends. This doesn't for the old backend. This is the annoying bit when you have to support 2 backends. One doesn't work all the time. So this one here is that the variable itself is not constant. So I need to do here exact value procedure. Now it's going to crash on here. No, it doesn't. That's not a good sign. Compound literal. Here we go. So we've got struct. No, we want an array. No, this is technically an enumerated array. So let's look for the enumerated array. And we're looking for it here. We're going to build the value on that expression for that enumerated array. And then we add all the data later. Yes, it's slightly different behavior I have to do. So it is on the build expression. And then go back to the build expression internal again. And it is in this rigmarole here. I think, first off, I don't know if this is the necessary behavior, but I don't think I think it's going to be here. It's going to be loads of here's, and there are loads of here's found. Lit e token string. In the Midgar compiler, I named this much nicer. I've just said string. In this case, I called it foo, didn't I? We only want to print this if this equals foo. It never gets hit, which is not a good sign, actually. Like, not at all a good sign. Another one to do is expression to string of the actual expression that gets passed. So, yeah, there's a lot of crap in that. I need to call it a better name. Let's not call it foo. Let's call it foo two 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 two. Now that's a much better name. Is foo two. And that's a much better name, of course. That was the name of his grandfather, which was Foo, and then Foo two. Yes, I've not drank a single thing, and I'm still insane. Don't worry about that. Okay. So why is this, as I would use a technical term, cocking up? See all the technical term, didn't you? That's a good question. Why? We've now got this, let's call it Flugel. Flugel's a better name. So then when we go through Flugel, I wonder if it's because Flugel... Oh, sorry. Flugel. Completely different thing. Yeah, so it's been added, but I want to know when it ever gets checked. For instance, the entity lookup for Flugel is going to be different, but it's not being looked for. So in this, here's another thing I need to just doubly check. Is this table, just do that. I'm going to do that and that. That's just to make it a normal array and see what happens. Yeah, it happens the same for normal arrays as well. So we have, the problem there is that I don't understand what's going on. That's my problem. So if I look for enumerated array, because we know it's in both, so it's not actually a... Yeah, so here's the compound literal, enumerated array, the elements, whatever. So there's a normal array, and we're going through all the elements. Now if we keep this back to a enumerated array, just to keep, actually let's just keep that the same, and all we have to do is change that line to be like that. Look how magic that is. Is the element constant? Ooh. Element can be constant. I'm going to cheat here. And do that as well. Now it works, yeah. I know what the bug was. It's because it thinks it's constant, but it can't make it constant. So because it can't be constant, yeah, there's the bug's fixed as well. That was simple. Bit of a hack, but it worked. And I know why as well, which is a pain in the ass. Fix procedure references in global compound literals in old backend, like so. Sorry about that, I'm back. Some technical issues, not many, but just some technical issues. So if I do revert, everything is now hunky-dory on those bugs. Okay, so let's look at the actual GitHub stuff and see what streams. Can everyone hear me? I'm back. I did not die. That was fine. So I'm looking at the current bugs. So the compiler crashes when someone's trying to do this behavior. Okay? And it crashes. Does it? Is that crashed? Oh shit, LLC is going ape shit. So it's oh boom. So great. No, I'm back. Sorry, it was just me. I kind of stopped. So what I'm going to do is put this up in here. This is from someone here. So I'm using this made it crash. Yes. So this is not actually LLVM code. It's LLVM bug. So we're putting LLVM bug. Great. Yep, that's what's happening. But to prove it is it, I'm going to use the LLVM backend, and it works. Yeah, so I'm not going to fix this because it's LLVM. Sorry, I want to get rid of the old backend as quick as possible. So, again, this sounds amazing. But the thing is, if people would love to, if people would love to help me out on the new backend to get everything working, so for instance, we get DB information, we can get it working on Mac and Linux and any other platforms, that would be wonderful. Because the quicker we can get the old backend and kill that off, the better. So what I'll have to do is I did uncomment the broken part, and it worked. What? I didn't. I know this one worked, and when I did the one that failed, it actually didn't finish because it was LLVM. I had to kill LLVM off with. You didn't see it. I did it on the side. Sorry, I had to kill it off with the task manager. So yes, it did fail. I know what failed, Mickle. I did see it. Sorry if that wasn't very clear. Okay. I did do it with the LLVM API. I did it with both. The LLVM API worked. Oh, didn't I? Okay, let's prove it. Oh, sorry. Let me prove it. Yeah, it works. Yeah, look. LLVM API works. It is working. Cannot build a DLL on Windows. Yeah, you cannot export main. That's not allowed. But is this a bug? You don't need to override DLL main, by the way. This is probably not very clear. It works. I tested it. Whatever. So if DLLs are broken, that's fine. But yeah, Windows doesn't have Odin doesn't have DLL main. It's just main. It is the same thing. In fact, that's the whole point of Odin. I've been trying to improve the behavior so things are just work and are sane. So anything with that. Okay, so if I just write package test, yeah, we don't even need a main. Let's say foo. Let's say calling convention that. Takes an I32, returns an I32, returns x times x plus 1. Oh, very complicated thing. And we export this. And build build mode equals colon DLL. Sorry, I'm used to different things all the time. Let's try this in stuff. So demo.lib worked and demo.dll. So it's working in the LLVM mode. Let's try, is it the old backend that's broke? Yeah, it works as well. I think I fixed this bug already. Can you see if you can replicate this? Please. Yeah, I think that box is already done. I'll put a bug feature on here. Bug. Oops, oops, I did not click that. Bug, can't replicate. Not a bug, not a bug. Yeah, I'll fix that one later. I'm just looking at the ones. Is this still happening? And which backend is this working on? I really hate having to support two backends. I really do. True, I can always close it and they can reopen it if the necessary. Yeah, this is actually a complicated answer. So, did I fix this? Let me check this. Did this get fixed? No, wait. I'm building in DLL mode, so I have no idea what's running. No wonder I'm like, I see nothing broken. So that doesn't even get called. That's not good. It's not a good sign. Let's try that. This is not good. Yeah, if it's the old backend, this is oh, for fudge's sake. What the hell's going on here? Seriously. Just pain in the ass. This is okay. So what the flipping heck is the context and defer are cocking up together? Obviously, this is a good minimal representation. Also, why do you do this, Josh? So I'm just doing this for me. It's annoying the hell out of me. That's all. That was it. I also put that, but that doesn't make a difference. That's fine. But yeah, like each block has a case to it, but I guess it's if used to C++. Just to prove this, yeah, so it is scope bound. I think I've got an idea. Nope, that didn't do anything. Let's try that. Yeah, this is where I don't think this is working correctly. So what I'm going to do is not even do the defer free thing at all. I'm just going to say defer foo And all this needs to do is print is whatever this allocator is. Okay? So it doesn't even need to call the free. I just need to call context.allocator. Well, it's not. It's going to complain at me. So let's call it allocated data. And it should be nil. Yep, so allocated procedure. So the allocated procedure is something at that source, which is fine. And I'm going to cast that to a raw pointer. And then we're going to have different times when this all gets called. And yeah. So the bug here is actually a very simple one, you're right, is that the defer doesn't respect the previous context. It takes whatever's been pushed now and does that. And you want the other behavior, which makes more sense, come to think of it. So you need to track the previous context behavior for that thing. So technically all you need to do is track the scope index and the... So shall we do the new LVM backend first? So defer. Like I got scope index and context stack index. So it should be, theoretically, working. Why was this added? Well, there's a good question to that. Yeah, I think I know what the problem was here. That's not the bug, by the way. That's not fixed it, obviously, because it should be completely, it should ignore it. But, like for instance, I don't think this will ever be called, but I might be wrong. I added a comment another day to show me like, yeah, why did I add this? Yeah, this is never getting called. But there's a load of defers. So let's just do that. And yeah, by the looks of it, wait. This is the wrong backend anyway. No wonder the fucking code wasn't working. Defer. Build defer statements. Right. We're creating a new defer block and then we're doing the defer stuff. Sorry, this is me being a numpty. So, the new LVO backend, get context. We want the stack count for the context here. So I'm going to cheat and do a defer and then restore the stack context. So previous context stack count, like so. And then at the end, so just defer it, we want to restore it, like so. And then what we need to do here is we need to set the new one from the defer. So LV defer has probably got a context stack count. Does it? Yeah, it does. And now that's the correct behavior. That's the correct behavior for the LLVM backend. Okay? But it's not the correct behavior for the other backend. That's the correct behavior. Let's just note build 2020-05 13. Oh, it's been 2 months I got rid of that. And ensure, but I need to restore it. Yeah, I think that's actually clear without a thing anymore. So, whoops. Yep, that's now correct behaviour. Sorry, I did not. I knew I added a comment. I was just being an idiot. You can see me being a numpty. So fix this on both backends. And watch that get automatically closed. Yeah, the new LLVM CFP looks very clean. Yeah, thank you. Do you mean mine implementation or just you've been reading through it, haven't you? I know it's 11, nearly 12,000 lines long. The file is, and I can probably just split it across multiple files now. But the reason why it was one file is it was pretty much a near transliteration of my old LLVM backend using the new functions. So now it's all cleaned up, we can probably move this across into multiple files so it's easier for people to deal with rather than just having to wait till we get to the top. It's not there yet. There it is. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of crap in here, and a lot of it is just crap. Stuff like I haven't done the bounds checking yet, but that's just, to be honest with you, it's just bounds checking. I know it's not like, oh, it's not difficult to add. I just haven't bothered yet. Yeah, a lot of this can be moved elsewhere to a different file to make it simpler to deal with. Like, for instance, the meat and potatoes. This is all like crap. It's around here, so halfway through. So halfway through the code is the other bit. So you could probably split this into 2 files if necessary. But for the time being, yeah, I'm happy. Okay, so that is all hunky-dory. That's now been closed. Was this the other bug you were talking about planting? Not plant. What the hell am I saying? Platin. Sorry, I can't even say your name. Apologise about that. So this should be easy enough to replicate, you say. So am I on the old back end? Yes. Okay. What is the new... you can try it out right now. I'm just fixing some bugs in the compiler at the moment. Just some minor bugs here and there. Nothing big. Yeah, if you want to check out the language for Odin, please check out the website. It's absolutely hunky-dory here. So it's odinlang.org or odinlang.com. I own them all. And you can go to them like that. And it's got some nice little things here. You can try out the latest stuff. So I recommend getting the latest nightly builds or just compiling it yourself. You can check out the GitHub, absolutely wonderful place to check for new stuff, new releases, all that stuff, all the new cool stuff like that. The website also has documentation on there, such as an overview and getting started. I recommend clicking the getting started and clicking as you go down. You can also check out the community as well. The Discord is heavily active, and I recommend people check that out if you're not there already. It's a very lovely community of people, and if you've got any questions, I'll be there most of the time, and anybody else will be free to ask. Okay. So, other bugs I'm looking at. I don't class this as a bug. I understand why you want this Tetralux, but it's not a bug. It's, well... Well, we could actually make this work. What LLVM version am I using? That's the mid-card compiler. Let's go back to Odin. It'll be LLC, won't it, I want? I'm using version 6. It's quite behind the times, I know. But what about opt? 6. Again, quite old, I know. That's not a lie. Declarations are actually a statement. This is not a joke. Declarations are a form of statements. Yeah, I think I should allow any constant declarations after that stuff. So it's never execute. That's a bug as well anyway. It's a typo bug. It's never execute. Executed. So that's fine. But the problem here, that's fine here, yeah. N but if the max I'm going to check here, max non-constant declaration, that is a bit of a fine, else break, like so. It's a bit of a weird logic, just say, yeah, okay. Okay. Value declaration, and so what I want is not just the max, but I want the max non-declaration value, and this is a value decl. It's mutable and it's non-mutable. So let's do that again. Wrong type. It's a typo, but it'll make a difference. Okay. Now it says a different error. Missing. Here. I need to check the same logic for that. Yeah? Is a terminating list. Now, if it's not an empty statement, then I want to check. I also want to check for constant declarations as well, don't I? So we want to have that big list again. Else if statement kind AST value decl, and the statement value decl, if it's not mutable, that's fine. So say okay, okay, and do that. And there we go. That's correct logic. Now I remember checking for which backend am I using? Yeah, that's correct logic. I don't know if this is all full, but yeah, I think that's happy enough. So I've just made Tetralux happy, I hope. Let's go to, let's just do it again. Fix behavior. Okay. So that is correct. It was simple logic. You can see what I mean. It's just the rule was, I'm going to put enhancement. Because it is an enhancement. It wasn't really a bug. It was just how I defined the rules were very basic. I don't want to add a debug print for the term which backend's using. I don't, yeah. LLVM9 may be, have I got later binaries? I think I do. Like, there might be some later, no, they're not new. I think they're new. I've got old ones. I've just not bothered updating them because I've had issues. And I've updated crap. I hate updating stuff. Yeah, because I thought I fixed this bug with the thing, yeah. Good, yeah, I know what the bug was. I did fix it correctly. That's good to know. Other bugs. This is a... Right, is this a bug? You'd expect it to work, but that doesn't mean it's a bug. Yeah, sorry, it's just someone saying in the chat, Michael saying, so Bill, the VP bot yells at you and me when the CI fails, yay or nay? Yes, make it yell at me. I'd rather it yell at me than it didn't. Thank you, yeah. Let me yell away. Make it yellow in its face. That makes sense for the most part. This, unfortunately, is virtually impossible to check unless I actually pass it that way. So, yeah, I know many people make this bug. It's more of a parser thing, and you have to just check for it. It's hard. It is actually hard to do, sadly. This thing, I would love to remove. Now, some people, I'd have to replace it with something, though. So what I want to replace this with... is to have something you want to get is more like a config, let's say, and then default value. I'm thinking of possible replacement idea is that. So the reason why I'm suggesting this as a better approach is mainly for the main part, what's the way of putting it, is the old approach actually caused a race condition. Seriously, that is race condition problems, while the new approach, the idea, has no race conditions to it. The other one is fundamentally a problem, so you can't fix it. So that's why I want to remove it until it works with normal things. So I'll just implement that now because it's only on the front end side, it's not on the back end. So it should be trivial enough to add. But it's in the parser. So if I look for defined, let's call this. So questions: is config a good name? I know you probably can't read this on my screen. Is config a good name rather than this? I don't want to say defined. I want to call this... Oh no, but is defined is the correct way of putting it? But I don't want to call it defined because I want it to live in its own package effectively. And this package is never importable by any stretch of the imagination. and it's like it lives in its own little scope, and it's only for like configuration stuff. That's the whole point of it, is that you can just, oh, I want to say I configure this way. Any names, suggestions? I can just add a random thing. Let's just call it config for the time being. I know it's not the best name in the world, but it's a name. And then when we go to check expression, defined, we're going to break on them. The reason we break on them is they've got their own special behavior. Config 2 expects 2 arguments. We got that. So the first argument, we're expecting an identifier. Has to be an identifier we're expecting. Expected an identifier. Got whatever. We're going to check this identifier exists, is the first thing. But we need to specify the scope. If it doesn't exist, because this is like, this is one of those things where I need to change the logic. We need to get scope going. So this is the config scope. For the moment, I'm just going to cheat and do this. We want to get the identifier in here. st node I identifier arg. We also want a default value. The default value... Right, here's a question for the logic. If it exists, does the default value get it evaluated or not? Or should it evaluate it regardless of if it doesn't exist or not, is my question. Ooh, good question. I don't actually need to worry about that. I can just do this. That should be more than enough. Entity... scope lookup current config scope name, and yeah, that looks fine to me. If let's call this check expression. Let's evaluate it just in case, regardless, because it will help with bugs, to be honest with you. That's what I'm thinking, at least. So we could pass in C, X. Let's call it def, and def arg. Oops, daisy like that. If def dot error if diff mode doesn't equal addressing constant, I'm just going to make it return false anyway. Must be a constant, like so, and we can set that to be def arg, like so, yeah. And if it is a constant, then we're absolutely fine. If found, that's great. If found doesn't equal null pointer, then we're going to do that logic. If the logic, so if it's, Yeah, this is the way I'm trying to think doing it. We're going to set the default behavior already. So type is going to be whatever the type of the other operand is, with the same mode and the same value, just by default, because I'm defaulting there, of course. Keeping it clean. If found kind doesn't equal entity constant, we're going to give it an error, but we're not going to do return it yet. Let's call that arg. But expected a constant value. If it is found, then what we can do is the same, change this now. So we then get found type. What did I just do? Whoops-a-daisy, I shouldn't have closed that. Addressing constant, and then found constant, and then value. Okay, so this should remove the need for... so I'm just going to have this be false always, and now I'll make an error. Not even a deprecation, I'm just going to put error. Defined has been replaced with config name default value. Okay, so this is actually an error, but I'm just going to set as false always. So now we need to set the config scope. Checker defined, oh no, where universal defined values double declaration. Aha. Yeah, if there's any double declarations, that's fine. Now we don't want to put these in the universal scope or the global scope, or whatever you want to call it. We need to put it in its own scope. Like this is the built-in package. Okay. So where does this one go to? It goes into the built-in package at the moment, which we don't want it to go into. We want to insert this into its own scope. Nope. Is it in this header file? I think it's stored in a header file, isn't it? Yeah, it's here. So we're going to call this the config package. So the built-in package is going to get its own thing. It's package. It's global. Yeah. You can never import it though. That's the thing, and I don't think it's going to be able to be imported ever. So, but now we've got the config package defined. It's going to break loads of people's code, but I'm saying it, yeah, it solves a bunch of problems anyway. Like a bunch of problems. Apparently, I used it here. And fine. Actually, I got a better idea. Yeah, I've got an idea here. I need to check if the thing current context is in a procedure. That's what I mean. Context. We're in a procedure declaration. That's what I mean. So I'm not getting rid of defined. It's just going to be... is only allowed within a procedure. Prefer config name default value. I know why I did that. That was a hack I had previously, but it actually probably makes a lot more sense. So let's do a little test of this, because I'm clearly not saving this until I've actually got a test. For instance, let's get rid of all this crap. When config foo, and I'm going to say faults. No, let's do this here. Let's do it within a scope. Doesn't make a difference, does it? Thumped print line hello. Yeah, boo. Like so. Let's do that. So now it's going to complain at me. Expected, yeah, because the parser was not actually expecting... yeah. Because I never added it. Unhandled things. So yeah, like so. Undeclared thumped. Of course there is. But it worked. You can saw it work actually. So to just prove that works as I expect, define foo true. Boo. Still says it. Really? Really? So foo's being found, but is this it's not created its own scope. It's created its own scope, but it hasn't. Why not? Oh, why not? I've done wrong. You're a moron, Bill, haven't you? You're an absolute moron. Can you guess why? I never actually updated this scope here. And now it works correctly. Wonderful. Wunderbar. And let's add a... and let's put number there. We don't want to add all of that to that. We only want to add that. That's all right with me. So I'm going to close my thing because it's actually done it. If people want to have a better name, just make a pull request, please. Yeah, this is not a bug, but a better error message is needed. I know how I can improve that actually. So the way I would improve this is a bit of a hack. So fall through allowed. Like where the heck is actually that defined? I can't remember where that's declared. Here. Switch in. Like so. I'm just trying to... It's not going to get rid of the switch in. It's just going to check to see if it's allowed. So, type... What's called, and I don't call it switch in, I call it a type switch, don't I? Because it is a type switch. It switches on the type. Break allowed. And I'll put type switch there. Fall through. But if flags does have type switch in there, this may is a bit of a hack, but it does make sense. Better error message at least. No, because it might be at the actual end of it, but it's... yeah. Is that better? I will commit something to master soon. Just let me just do my little test for this, and then I've got more bugs being done. Fall through statement not allowed within a types. So it's not just in a legal position, it's actually just not allowed within a type statement. So that is going to now add a new commit just to keep Mikkel happy. Improve type switch statement error for fall through. Okay. I'm going to revert that as well while I'm here. And update. Yeah, it may be in the way of this console output. I apologize, but oh well, it's not for you to worry about, really. Yeah, it's good enough. It's good enough. You don't need to worry about it. It's close enough. Did I do this? Yeah, let's close the statement. This I'm going to put as an enhancement. It's not really a bug, but it is a bug. It's a bug, but... Using statements in a struct that points to another struct of the same type breaks implicit access through using. Okay, so this is a... Again, basic. Shouldn't just... So someone's wanting this. I don't know what token is, by the way. I'll have to make a random token. But what is token? Let's put a string in there. Just pretending it's that. Undeclared, unrenode. I don't have any of this. This is not a minimum replication. Sorry. Sorry, John Minor. This is not a minimum to do anything. I can't. I'll say sorry, I'm gonna have to just close that. I don't mean being rude. It's just I can't replicate it if I literally don't know how you're doing. So the problem here, okay, so they have a bad where statement evaluated. You don't say where the call gets stuck, but you do say where the. Okay, so we have. Let's call it where clause evaluated to false, and the reason for this is where we take the call expression, but we don't actually state it here for some reason. So let me just test this. Interestingly, you're correct. It should be evaluated to false, just to prove it is the right code. It is. Apparently, there is no call expression. Whoops. Yeah, there is no call expression there, apparently. So that's why it doesn't find it, because it hasn't got one. So this is the only place where it gets evaluated, but the operand here is not called. Yeah, I think I need to change that to call, because then the logic makes more sense. But where else does that get called? In a bunch of other places. So I'm guessing it's like this one, where it doesn't really have a call. It's going to at caller location. That's not the caller location. So it is get evaluated, but it's not. Oh, that's why. Because look what the call function is. We're checking the procedure body. We're delaying the procedure body checking. So we don't know if it's valid until we do it. That's a good one. But I think, so I know where it's getting called now, at least. It's getting called on the checking the procedure body, which is the wrong place. That should be in, or is it? Because that makes sense. Okay, so where else were the other things being called? So we got one here, which is where we got the check the declaration, yeah. That's the instantiation of the thing. Sure. And then we've got other values if it's polymorphic. Like, I know I could always put this through a debugger. There's no, to be honest with you, I like tracing better than debuggers half the time. Especially when doing compiler work. Ear one. Ew. And the answer is it's none of that. Damn. What about the next one? I know it's probably in 1, in 0. Yep, it's none of that. I was right. It's getting evaluated later on. It's getting delayed, of course, just because it's being delayed like mad. And we're checking the last possible moment because the actual, I know what's gone wrong here. So it's got through and it's completely valid. The entire thing is fully specialized. I need another where statement earlier on. Okay, that's where I need to check it. Is that correct? But there's no... where clauses. Okay, so this is interesting because it's only being called here, and that's for the procedure groups. So you want to evaluate which is the best one as you're doing it. But it's not doing it anywhere else, is it? So data gen entity. If data gen entity doesn't equal nil, null point, sorry, wrong language. Where clauses, we want to do the same thing, I'd say, in both cases. We're not going to evaluate it, just, we want to put some errors in there. Decal, yeah. If the decal doesn't equal null pointer, then guess what? You're going to keep it. And the call is all here as well. And I'm going to copy and paste it. This is context. Well, it's a C in this case. It's not a... Yeah, it doesn't know because it hasn't been declared, apparently. And there's a big reason for it. I need to clean that up, the code, because unfortunately that code is being reused in 2 places. And but no, I don't need to this time I'm going to duplicate the code rather than making a function because I don't actually need to do anything with it yet. Decal, I've got this is context here and I've not actually made a checker context. Up, like so. Yeah, it's probably going to crash. It's because I need to initialize it with the original one and then need to redo everything here. So now it's got 2 evaluations. So what I need to do is in the parser, proc lit, add a boolean there. Oh no, it's in the decal info. And we need to check if those have been evaluated. Only there, I'm only doing it once. It's not. I'm not doing it elsewhere because in the extra case of it here, we only want to evaluate it if the declaration hasn't been evaluated once. And there we go. What a lovely little thing. Sorry, most people would have no idea what the hell I've just done there because I've done that really quickly. I'm just trying to bug fix this quick. So that's that. The title of this video is wrong. I should be changing it to Odin compiler bug fixes. Yeah, I was going to work on the Midgard stuff, but by the looks of it, the title's wrong. Let's call this fix that one. Okay. Revert the demo again, just for my own sanity. I know what the bug was now, but that's been there since the 11th of February. I apologise. Some of these are just getting missed. But they're all being fixed soon enough. We've gone through quite a lot tonight. I think I've probably gone through about 10. Half of these things in here aren't actually bugs. This should be implemented. I swear this is implemented. I swear I've done it. So I'm going to close it. I know I swear I've done it because I've done it. So yeah, Odin has the maybe stuff. Yes, it doesn't provide that benefit. I know exactly what you want. Short answer of it is not going to allow it. I think it's the nil check is actually a hell of a lot more complicated. Not going to implement this request. It requires a lot. It requires too much magic. Short answer of it. I'm just keeping it short and sweet. Sorry. If you want a better explanation, sorry about that, Hasten Judy. I'll do some better. Closing that. Is this still a bug? I thought I fixed this one. Like, I swear. No, it does break. You're right. It does break the new backend, but not the old one. So I'm going to call this as a type. But the reason why it's breaking it is not... Yeah, that one's old. I know it is. So I apologize for my delay. I'm just going to replicate this in the two different ways. So there's the simple way, which I know... Oh, it fails as well. What the fuck? Have I broke something with the new backend? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, fuck. The new backend's broke. Oh, what's gone wrong? Oh, I know what the problem is. It was in the runtime thing. It's when that mem set has already been defined. And, no, this is actually an Odin code I need to search for. And I'm doing this when... Defined mem set. It's this. So I'm checking to see if it's not been defined yet. Yeah. So that's fixed the bug for that. I think I fixed it ages ago, actually, thinking about it. But it's... I don't think that... It's a different bug I've just hit anyway, by the way. So I think this is completely fixed. No, I'm still getting this LOVM bug. What the fuck? Incorrectly named. Oh, it's that bug again. I hate the fucking thing. It is the same thing. That's not Heisenberg, is it? Yeah, this is the bug. I know what the bug is. It's because of stupid reasons, which I don't want to get into, but it's stupid. Just to prove it, that was the bug. Yeah, there we go. So this is another bug. That bug is not actually a bug anymore, by the way. Sorry, that's not a bug. I need to clear that. So fix LLVM API memset bug. It's a stupid one. I really hated it because I'll explain what the bug is actually. So in a different version of LLVM, they changed the signature of what memset was. Completely different. Like for instance, the LLVM API is completely different to the binaries, and they have different parameters. I don't even know why. It makes no sense. Why would the hell you change memset is beyond me. So this one, sorry, this is oh god, that thing. By the looks of it, is fixed. I'm just closing it. Yeah, I know for a fact that's fixed. Sorry. Okay, that's fixed. Sorry, there's some dead bugs in here that are well old. This is now allowed for unions with only one. Ooh. No, it's not allowed. I said this was actually a good idea, and I never actually did it. I'm sorry. If the yeah, let's do that. Seriously, let's do that. Actually, how did I implement that? Actually, as a thingy in my bob. Technical terms here. Import core fumpt. Can only I got 2. But that isn't true, is it? If the oops daisy. If it's a union and it hasn't got, but the thing is, if it isn't a union, that's the case, fine. Now in this case, on unions, did I call this an unary operator? It's an unary expression, is it? Okay, that seems a bit of a hack. Did I really make it an under expression? I did. Huh. Interesting. I'll put a big hack here. So, hack bill. Oh no, that's the wrong type of one. Yeah, this is the where I need to put the thing. Oh no. That's not a hack. It's absolutely fine and valid. Just had to think that through for a second. I know what it's doing. And that's actually valid, and that's perfectly correct. If we've got a type hint somewhere along the line, I guess, haven't we? Oops, let's remove that. We want to allow that if the type hint works, don't we? So, and if that is the case, then we can give it. But it's the type assertion type. I can also put type hint on that as well, to be honest with you. If variance, so let's look at if there is a type hint. If the type doesn't equal null, we need a better error message here after this, by the way. What I'm going to check to see is can no, is assignable to. Which is true. If it is assignable to that, we have an operand for this somewhere, don't we? Yeah, so operand here, if that is assignable to the type hint, then what we can do is on the type assertion, we can say type hint equals the type hint, and first, do I actually, when I do the check with the operand score and I check the distance between the types, do I add, I think I do, because pass bill is probably nice. No, I don't. But I probably should. If it is allowed, then we're adding that. We're adding the type hint there, and then we're doing this. If it is identical to the type hint, oops, daisy, we don't want that, we want that. And then return kind. Hello, Josh. I'm actually fixing loads of bugs at the moment. So destination, that's a B source. Invalid type assertion. Wow, okay. That already worked, which is not a good sign, by the way. LLVM backend. Actually, no, it's probably actually a good sign, but I just wanted to add a bit extra information to the thing entirely, actually. Why? Yep, that works. Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of crap, to be honest with you. Implement. Yeah, I'm on a bit of a roll to do all this. Yep. So if it is allowed, it will do that. If it doesn't, I'll just give it a close that issue. Let me just see how many commits I've actually done, because I have not been paying attention. So I have done, today at least, that was just whatever earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9! I have a bunch of them crap open, which I don't need open. I'm then going to revert the demo. So it should, just so I don't have some sanity checking. Oh, I'm fixing all these bugs. This is wonderful, isn't it? Issues. Explicit context creation. Now, I wanted this not within the main procedure, but for any other procedure that if anything calls it and the context is not defined within that procedure, then we shouldn't have it, is the idea. So we need to set if the context is defined within that scope, is my idea. So if you create a scope, and yeah, that's how it's going to work. So checker, scope flags, context defined. I'm just going to do C++11 thing, like so. So when I create a scope, new scope, create scope, is it create scope? Yeah, like this, we can do it. So if parent, oops, doesn't equal null, and parent flags has that flag, then what we're going to do is add that flag as well. Simple enough, isn't it? So any procedure that has got this scope, so oops, any procedure that has this scope will have it. So if I go back to the demo, I keep deleting all this and I shouldn't be, to be honest with you. Package, core, fumt. You don't have to do that. Not package, whoops. Main, import that. Let's call this a default context. Default context. Runtime dot context. Default context equals context. Like so, that's fine. Now what we can do here is I'm just going to do fumt. What you need to do is you need to check it in two places, don't you? Anytime you have a call that has to a Odin calling operation, it hasn't got that, then we have to err on it. And the second time you need to do it is anytime you need to call it. So if it's not defined in that scope, then you're going to have a big error. So I'm just going to do the simplest approach first, which is just calling it. And we need to check in the scopes. So checker expression, token context, like so. The next thing I need to do is call an error here. We're still allowing everything correct here. Procedure. No, if scope flags, and if it hasn't got this defined, it's going to have a lot of bugs in error here, by the way. So we have a node, but we can continue. With value. Context has not been defined within this scope. There's going to be a bunch of errors everywhere. Is my idea, I think. Oh, that's the wrong way around. And watch all of the errors start flying. All of them. Look at that. Has not been defined within this scope. It's not been defined within this scope. And look at all of that stuff. But that's not a problem. That is honestly not a problem. So, we now create... Oh no, be check type proc type. When we create the scope of something... We know the calling convention, right, don't we? CC. Yeah, I'm just going to put that well above. If CC, the calling convention is Odin, then what I'm going to do is for the context scope, yeah, that's correct. Flags, add the defined, and then anything that's come off it will be fine as well. Apparently C has not been defined yet. That is true, because they want you to do this. They, I mean me. I've got some bugs, so there's one bug. There's another bug. That is actually a bug. And let's get rid of this being contextless, because that makes no sense. This new feature is actually pretty damn good already. It should now disappear when I assign to it. But if it's being used as an expression, it shouldn't be an issue. Oh, that's going to be fun to figure out the logic. Because as soon as you have assigned to it, it shouldn't be... This is the wrong place to do it. So we need to look for where you have the addressing mode context. Yeah? And you need to do it that way. And whenever it's actually used as an expression rather than being assigned to. Shit, that's not nice to figure out. Yes, so it would require, that's why I said it's actually a bug. It was actually originally, it does need the context for that case, so that was a bug. So it caught it straight away, by the way, that's actually good to know. But, shit, where does it need to be defined is my question. Because it doesn't need to be defined in that context, does it? Because if you're assigning to it, it's allowed. If it's allowed. Yeah. But we need to figure out, the only case when it's allowed is when you actually have created, has not been defined within this scope. We need to check it because we've got the two cases in there. The first case is correct, and that should reduce the second one. But the first one is not correct. Yeah? Okay. Fuck, that's gonna be fun. So first off, what I need to do is in the runtime core init context. These are all private, completely private. I'm just going to do default context, and this is completely contextless, which is exactly what you want. Context, context, return C, and we're going to init C, and now we have the default context. Okay, so now we don't have to have this stupid thing here, by the way. I can then just call runtime.defaultContext. Okay. So in any other case, it's only in the assignment we need to check it. So if it's in the assignment, then we can cheat. Yeah, so the checker context should actually have some information about that, shouldn't it? Like if it's the left-hand side, well, that's not the right, that's context. Okay. Actually, that might be correct. If that is correct, yeah, that's correct. Oh, ho, ho, ho. There we go. If this is correct, aha, I already had that hint in there in the compiler. Isn't that wonderful? Wunderbar, as I would say. Wonderful. Let's do unparen expression, just as a sanity check, to be honest with you. But it does do that, and that will have an error here, because it's not in the right context. But if I did allocator, it's going to be another bug anyway. It'll say undefined thing, cannot access. Yeah. How wonderful is that actually as a feature, guys? Seriously, that is actually pure wonder to me. Because now we have solved Oscar's wonderful trick. And I'm going to add that. Actually, we need to commit every change except the, of course, except the demo, which I'll revert. Implement. Well, actually, if you've got the demo, let's build the demo because it might pick up some other crap. Nope, I thought not. I thought it was just only that's only one bug it picked up. Implement explicit context creation. Commit and push. It's going to break a lot of people's code, I know. A lot of people who rely on that sort of stuff. I'm going to close that feature. I'll call this a feature request idea and enhancement. Yeah, that was wonderful to add. Thank you, Oscar, for that suggestion. Anybody else has got any suggestions? I will add them, by the way. Not always add them. Add them if they are any good. So this one was another bug. So this was the minimum replication for the bug. Thank you, Josh. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. But my question is where that bug popping up. Main is correct in my thing, because right, I'll explain. So main, I'm having as a special case. Main is a weird function in Odin, and it has to be, because the entry point is always the weirdest thing. So technically, its calling convention is contextless. It is actually, by the way. It doesn't have to be. It's only that way for weird reasons. it simplifies a bunch of other problems. But yeah, so effectively, if you want to use the context, you have to do it that way. So if you're using the context any other scope, you must define it. So at least we've now fixed it. So what is this bug? And does this bug, is this bug replicated in the new backend? Because if it's replicated in the new backend, that's fine. No, it isn't. It's a purely old backend bug. Okay. And it's trying to print a float. It's trying to print a float when the type is a pointer, procedure, sorry. Why? How is my question, actually. Yeah, we've got to put that through a debugger now. So remedy bg Odin. Yeah, that's correct. We want to do the demo. Thank you. And we get it. So it's trying to do a compound literal. Let's go through all the crap first. Okay, so we're going to there, going to the instruction, yeah. And then we're going to IR print value. We're printing the value this time. But what are we printing exactly? We got struct fields and the entity types. So E type kind, and it says it's a procedure. It actually does say it's a procedure when we pass it through to this function. But in this case, for some reason type gets overwritten somewhere. So type kind is still a procedure. Okay. But it says so it says the value is a float. But what is it? Sorry, a float. Float 0. What the heck is going on here is what I want to know. Values.data I. Expected. It doesn't look like it's expected to me. Values. Okay. Was it actually just an array? It was, yeah, okay. And it is that somehow. What the fuck? That looks like it's not been initialized correctly. But that makes no sense. Huh? So... I'm reading through this code and I'm going to see what's gone wrong. You're going through all the elements, and there's 2 of them, of course, yeah. Then you go through, it's not a field value, so it's going to the other case. We've got the TV values, yeah, fine, and the field values, yeah. And then we add them to the field index of the values. I think if I just cancel this program, I think I know what the bug is. It's on like 120 here. The bug that I think it is slightly... I'm going to just try this. A variable... Yeah. field index. Oops, sorry, E. That's not fixed it, but that's more technical correctness, if you know what I mean. So why? And it's clearly in the other. Ooh. Well, I allocate an array here, yeah. With the temporary allocator. Fine. No problem. With the value count, with the number of values, yep. We'll do the field index every single time for that field. I wonder, does that field index ever actually get set correctly? Apparently so. And this field index is, of course, not even correct. It should be source field index, technically. It doesn't make a difference, obviously, but... So the idea I think that's gone wrong here is, let me just... I think that's actually that's an I, actually. It didn't make a difference, actually. The E... Token string... Yeah, this is maybe just spam it out like mad, by the way. It's most likely going to spam, yeah. Loads of spam. Some proc. It's 1. Yeah, it's a lot of debug information. Yeah, there's a bug. Now, let me just test this. Let me just test that. This fump's not been imported. I don't want to sweep this under the rug, but it looks like I might actually have to, because I think I know what the bug is. Which is not good, to say the least. I'll explain what I mean I think the bug to be. So, if element type cannot be constant, yeah? Is type procedure element type like that. Yeah, it's a similar bug from what we had previously, I think. But the problem here yeah, that's not actually solved the bug, that's made it worse. Why has that made that worse? I'm probably getting tired and I may not be able to fix this bug. But this is with the old backend and it's... Can you see why I want to get rid of the old backend and only have the new backend? But I haven't got the time to do it all, clearly. Just fixing these bugs alone has taken 2 hours. Oh, I need some help. Please, guys, can you help out? It'd be very much obliged. So this is where it goes. Whatever. Hopefully it's making sense. Hopefully people are understanding what I'm doing. It's just stuff at the moment. Okay, so the idea that I've got here is this thing. Get it? This thing. We know where the bug was about, or where it's been set at least. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's quite funny actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Type here. It'd be the original type is what I want here. And if original type kind equals type named, and original type named entity, I can never actually remember how this works. What's it called? Thing. Yeah, that's correct. That's not correct. Entity token string. I don't remember what I did. So what did I do for named? I don't remember. Name was just name, was it really? Oh. Okay. So we can go here and we should theoretically see what the heck is going on. Okay. Yeah. That's fine by me. And it's the same thing with this. So all I'm testing here is I want to see it doesn't get corrupted elsewhere up the stack. I want to see if it gets corrupted earlier on. And it has been corrupted earlier on, which is not a good sign. Which may mean it's actually been corrupted even earlier. Let me just check that actually. Val, it could be a complete bug. Type to expression. Type in value. Type to string. I meant not type to expression. No, it's not. That's been corrupted elsewhere, hasn't it? That's not a good sign. So if I look at the new backend and I look for the same thing with compound literals, so constant val const or const val as I called it. I can't remember which one it was. Compound literals here, which is one for a array, enumerated array, SIMD, struct. Here we go. If we get the same thing, I just want to do what goes on. Yes, it's been corrupted further up. So the bug is actually not in the output code. The bug is further up, which means it's being incorrectly set somehow. exact value. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. We want a procedure type here, and I think I have an idea of what's gone on because it's in a call syntax, isn't it? So checker expression. I know what's gone wrong. I really do know what's gone wrong now. So it's in the ident stuff, isn't it? So if you check a procedure, we've got an exact value procedure here, and it has got the right thing for the node, but this is probably where it's not the only time it gets called. It only gets called here, and they're the only two times. So this is, one is for the identifier, and the next time I think this is selectors, isn't it? Yeah, it is, yeah. That's the only time. Compound literals. Yes, a compound literal here, type struct. Okay, so it's not a field value, but it is a normal one. And I think the problem here is that the final operand is being incorrectly evaluated every time. So what I need to do here is change the operand and be a little bit more correct. And I think that should... no, it doesn't fix it. Oh, it does fix it. Oh, it does. But I know why it failed properly. I know it's gone wrong. It is all the same problem, per se. Yeah, I need to do... oh, it's because as it's going through each iteration, it's not actually resetting the operand. Yeah? So it still has all of the old previous information, which you don't want to have. So all of this stuff is actually incorrect. And to make it safer, you want to redefine it everywhere. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, actually, thinking about it more. As weird as that may sound to some people, you actually do want to overshadow it here, and you want to do it pretty much every single other case, but not necessarily. That's those two cases of structs are perfect. And let's get rid of the here. Let's go back to the build.bat. Get the other backend. And there we go. Just make sure I got rid of all the here's. Yep. There you go. There's your bug fixed. Oh, what was actually the changes that I made on that? Oh yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, it was just a sanity checks. Yeah, sorry, that's all it was. So I think that's been an extremely productive night tonight. It's midnight, and I probably need to go to sleep in a minute. But there's a question that's just come. Hello there. Would you consider adding an FAQ entry for why the compiler isn't self-hosted? Yes, sure. I'm actually getting questions about this quite a lot lately. Sorry if I didn't answer this soon enough. I've been distracted. The short answer of it is, I think self-hosting is mostly masturbatory fun more than actually being productive. I do want to. So you're saying why you want to get away from C++, and now you spend so much time writing. Actually, I don't really spend much time writing the compiler. Actually, that's the thing. I write mostly in Odin nowadays. Most of my time is writing Odin. It's been really damn fun. So that's quite a nice thing. So yeah, I'm spending more time writing in Odin than writing the compiler. So, but the thing with when you go to do self-hosting, you actually have a bunch more problems you have to actually bug. So if there's a bug in the C++ side when you've gone to the self-hosting, you've now got to have a way to patch that. It's a pain. It's a nightmare actually in some cases. So people don't realize those problems. They think, oh, just writing an Odin, then you've got all these problems, and then you've got problems with C++ anymore. It's like, yeah, but what happens if you've got a bug in the compiler? You've got to find ways to literally bootstrap and get around it. It's not fun. As I said, with many people, the compiler will be mostly. I will not replace the Odin compiler in Odin until 1.0 is out, and 1.0 is written in C++, of course, and then we can do and replace that. I will probably write the Odin compiler in Odin soon enough, so we have a full-on compiler as a library in the thing, so you can use it to do whatever the heck you want. So this won't be the official one until latest version and everything's all stable, and that can be used to replace everything, and then we've got a bootstrapping sting. It's not a simple answer. That's why it's not in the FAQ actually, because I'm trying to explain it now. It's not that simple. So the short answer is not doing it yet. It's not worth the time, but we're not doing it. We're not doing it. So we are doing it soon, but we're not self-hosting. We're just, okay, I'll clear myself. I'm just too tired actually to solve the problem. So self-hosting, not happening until 1.1 of the compiler. We're not even reached 1.0 yet. So 1.0 is when the specification is written. It's all done, finalized, so on and so forth. There will be an Odin compiler written in Odin before 1.0, most likely, because this will be very, very useful for metaprogramming tools. But that will not replace the C++ compiler whatsoever. Okay? Hopefully that's clear to question. Other question was there any consensus on the nested parapoly identifiers issue? The answer is no, I've just left that because I've been dealing with all the other bugs. Yeah. I think that's going to call it a night. Thank you very much, and everyone here. I need to get some sleep. It is quite late for me, and I need to be up in the morning. So thank you all for watching. If you've got any more questions before I go in literally a minute, please ask away. And I think that'll be it. So thank you all listening, and see you next time. Today is now Thursday, and it was Odin's day, so it's now Odin's son's day. It's his turn instead. So good night, everybody. And if you only just tuned in recently, please go to odinlang.org, see the website, go try out Odin. Usually try out the latest nightly builds. These ones are slightly older now, especially since I've been doing those fixes. So if you want to wait till tomorrow night at 9 p.m, it's at GMT, I think, they will be built. So good night, everybody, and thank you for watching.